You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level. Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn connects you with experts from all over the world to help you take charge of your career, your business, and your life. Rap along with us. Visit drjacalyn.com to learn how to become a guest or a sponsor. And now, the doctor is in.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are joining us from the world. We are so happy to have you here. This is Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn, the variety show. We never know what's going to happen, and we've got a special surprise for you today. I'm your executive producer and your host. I am Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and I am a certified life, career, yoga, and meditation coach. And with me, as always, on this wonderful show is my co-host, Lori Mendelsohn. Lori, welcome to the program.
Hello, Dr. Jacalyn.
Hello.
So good to see you and spend Friday evening with you.
Yes, I look forward to this every week. And is somebody with you?
There is. Hold on.
Hi, Zing. Hi, Zing. Zing. So adorable. So adorable.
Thank you. Always here. So, yeah.
You brought us an amazing guest and plus one, I have to say. So let's not give any information out before we bring our guest out. So I'd love for you to share with our audience what it is that Lori Mendelsohn is up to.
Okay, well, I am doing dating coaching. I'm doing matchmaking. And the thing that makes me a great dating coach is that I am going through the exact same thing that my clients are going through. So I can empathize with them because I'm also in the trenches dating right along with them. So what I do is I help them get their head on straight, practice self-love, self-care, and go through the process of finding great people for them that eventually we hope they'll fall in love with.
That's fabulous. Is there anything about your process that you want to share?
Yes, the process that I use is I have a coaching package that I do, which involves breaking through barriers. So what I do is I get to know my clients really well, and I always find that there is something that is stopping them from finding true love. Either it be true love within themselves or the process of finding true love with someone else. And we break those barriers. And I work with healers, and this is kind of an entree into our guest today. I work with healers, therapists, Reiki Masters, hypnotists, chakra cleaners to really get past those barriers so they can find themselves and in turn find love. So that's my secret sauce.
I like it. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Yes.
I want to remind our audience, we have two audiences, really. We have our audience on Business Talk Radio. Hello in Radio Lands. We're glad you're here. And then we have our audience on TV. So we are on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. And we'd like to hear from you. It makes the show so interesting when people start engaging. I want to say hello to a few folks, actually to Ian Morris and Diane Floyd Bain. Thank you for watching. So do you want to tee up our guests and tell everybody a little bit about our guests?
I do. So I would love to introduce, I could just call her Nancy Stevens because that's what I go by with her. Nancy and I met in 2009 when we were both in the pet space. She's still in the pet space. We met at a conference in Florida, and I immediately took to this woman. I was gravitated towards her energy. And over the years, Nancy has taught me a lot about the pet sitting business. And in turn, when she was ready to sell hers, I helped her through that process as well. So since then, we've remained friends. We talk, about once a month. We check in with life changes, growth, spiritual growth, and all those wonderful things. And this woman has an incredible gift. So let's tee her up.
Come on, Nancy. Come on out. There she is. Woo, welcome.
Thank you.
Who have you got with you there?
This is Indy Bird. Indy was named after Indianapolis by his original owner. I used to pet sit for Indy, and his owner was so busy working that she felt like he and I had developed a special bond, and it might be good for him to come live with me. And I was tickled. And that was in 2005. So Indy is now 30 years old, and he does talk, but he doesn't talk on command. But he says some very interesting things.
30 years old. That's incredible.
Yeah, Nancy, what is it? I know that parrots are passed down from generation to generation. What is the normal lifespan for a parrot?
In captivity for an African gray, it's about 45 years.
Whoa.
Amazing. Nancy, I want to get to your background, but I have some questions about Indy. So has Indy's, the color of feathers changed over time?
No, he's a Timna African gray. And so he has the red tail, which the Congo African gray parrot does not have. His color remains the same. So he looks the same to me. I don't notice any aging in his face yet. So he stays pretty young looking.
So parrots really have the life.
We should be so lucky, right?
And as I mentioned earlier, he may be a little unpredictable, so I'm not sure. He's very interested in seeing people on the computer screen. So, but sometimes he gets a little restless, which I feel like he's getting restless.
Hi,
now.
Indy. Indy. Hi, Indy.
Oh, there you go.
Okay. All right. There we go. So, Nancy, I mentioned when we were backstage, I mentioned that I've never heard of anyone who does what you do. So I'd love for you to start off by sharing what it is.
So what I do is I offer Reiki sessions to people with pets. And typically people's pets, people who find me, their pets are going through a life transition. They're having some physical, emotional challenges. And so I offer the Reiki sessions. And Reiki is a hands-on or hands-off natural healing modality that uses universal life force energy. It's an abundant, gentle spiritual energy that is not tied to any religion. And because it is energy and it lives in every living thing, it exists and flows in every living thing. Makes it possible for me and other people who are at least a level 2 Reiki practitioner to be able to offer the Reiki healing energy long distance. So I can actually sit in my home and offer remote Reiki healing energy to people and to pets, actually. I specialize in pets, but I can also assist people with any emotional or physical challenges.
That is truly incredible. Wow. And I'm just wondering, what about Reiki? Because there's all types of modalities or healing. I think they're called healing modalities, but they're all different ones. What was it that drew you to Reiki specifically?
I started working with Reiki in 1998, doing energy shares. So I would get together with other people who were practicing Reiki, and it works with areas of compressed energy in the body. So when you receive Reiki energy, universal life force energy, it leaves you feeling very balanced, very peaceful, very grounded, very relaxed, and whole, which is just a wonderful state to experience for anyone. By doing that, the Reiki actually assists the body in being able to be stimulated to begin to heal itself. It dissolves energy blockages and that sort of thing. So when I'm working with people and animals long distance, people actually feel a change in their energy. They feel a change in their mental state, their emotional state, as well as their physical challenges.
I think that's fascinating. Lori, have you ever had Reiki performed on you?
I have had Reiki in person, and I have had Reiki sent to me, and I don't know when Nancy sends it to me. I know that she has. Have you ever had it done, Dr. Jacalyn?
No, I've not.
Oh, it's amazing. The first time that I ever had it done, what happens, there is no touch involved. It is, so let's say here's your body, the spirit guides, the healing touch guides over you, and you feel very warm. I started vibrating. I started crying when the Reiki Master hit certain spots in my body. I felt releases. I've also had it done where I didn't feel anything, but then the next day I felt very open and very clear. But I know that Nancy is amazing at what she does. I know that there have been many customers, clients that she's had that have had amazing results with their pet kids. So, you know, she truly has a gift. What I'd love to know is, what is the program that one goes through, and how do you know that you have this gift, Nancy? Or does anyone have to have the gift? What do you go through to become a Reiki Master?
So everybody has the ability to channel Reiki energy. Everyone has universal life force energy within them. And really it's all about the intention. So you can channel universal life force energy without having to actually learn Reiki, but it helps to learn Reiki and to learn about how to utilize. You're taught by a Reiki Master teacher level, and there's level 1, level 2, and level 3, and then the Reiki Master teacher level. So at level 1, you're taught about energy work, and you're given some symbols to work with. And by the time you get to level 2, you are given the symbol to use for remote healing. So then you can send energy. Again, it is all about intention. And learning Reiki and becoming attuned by a Reiki Master just accentuates the ability and expands one's ability to understand what you're doing, to be in alignment with the intention and an alignment with the connection to God or spirit or whatever one would call universal life force energy.
Thank you for that explanation, Nancy. I'm wondering, so as you become a Reiki Master, is that for pets also, or that's a different certification process?
It's not a different certification process, although it can be. I'm actually involved in taking another course now to, continue to heighten and expand my abilities, working specifically with animals. But you don't have to get certified working specifically with animals to use Reiki on animals. I've been with a Reiki Master teacher who used Reiki to help get her car unlocked. So it's about intention, and it's about using the symbols and being in alignment, connecting yourself with, again, God or spirit, so that you are in the flow, you are accepting of your connection to the divine, and you are using yourself as a conduit or a channel for universal life force energy on anything and everything. Now, there are principles and ethics about Reiki that one needs to be aware of, and it's advisable to understand those as well. So with people, you want to get their permission to send them Reiki. At least that's the way I was taught. So with animals, I like to do the same, or at least to get the owner's permission to send Reiki to animals. But I'll admit that there are some animals I've been drawn to working with that I don't ask permission. I just offer.
It's really fascinating. And I love how Indy's on you the whole time, just hanging around with you. That's it's really
sitting on my chair. My chair. I hope that, you know what, he doesn't poop on my shoulder, but he does.
We're going to take a break and hear from two of our sponsors, and we'll be right back after this. Don't go anywhere. We've got more fun, more information coming for you on the Variety Show with Lori Mendelsohn and Nancy Stevens. Is it Zwerin? Zwerin. It rhymes with swearing.
Exactly.
Zwerin. Okay, I've got it now. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Networking sucks and people suck at it, but nothing gives me more life than walking around and talking to people in an audience and really being able to identify, okay, I see where you're having trouble, let's work on fixing it. How do you help them? How do you provide value? My goal is to give them those tools to be able to go out and tackle that fear. Anywhere there's coffee is where I'll be. So I bring candy a lot to my speaking engagements. Like, of course that makes sense. I'm a little unconventional.
Ashley was very knowledgeable.
Very entertaining.
I learned a few new things, and to me that's the key.
What do you want them to say? How do you want to be perceived? You're going to get the most direct, tactical tips and practical takeaways when it comes to networking. These two here are super important. You'll remember once the conversation starts.
I love the tips that she gave out. I hate networking with a passion, so I feel like I can go to a meeting or event and not feel so uncomfortable.
When you're going to a presentation, you want to be educated. You also want to be entertained.
She was really fun and really personable, and everything she was saying was just very relatable.
She's got a lot of great ideas.
That will make you stand out so fast.
She comes across as someone that likes what they do and just doesn't try to sell you something.
Activity breeds results. If you're not doing anything, you're not going anywhere.
Just made me want to start networking, which I never thought I'd say before.
A networking strategy that works for you.
It's what we do together that counts. The Big Alliance story. A true story about faith over adversity, perseverance, and entrepreneurship. Read Earl's story and how he became an entrepreneur. Available on Amazon, Kindle, and Audible.com. For more information, contact Earl Hurd at earlhurd@bigalliance.com or call 1-800-460-4242.
Hello, I'm Dr. Jacalyn. Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn presents A Better You. And here to tell us more is the creator of A Better You, Al Cini. Al, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Dr. Jacalyn. It's always a pleasure working with you and everyone out there. You know, you might be a coach working with individuals professionally or personally, or you might be a consultant working with businesses, or you might be a trusted advisor specializing in an area like finance, let's say, or the law or healthcare. Whatever of those roles you relate to, you all have one thing in common, and that is you're working every day to help people become better versions of themselves, a better you. And Dr. Jacalyn's A Better You program is an opportunity for you to express your expertise in a particular area for 15 minutes in front of an audience of people who are looking for help from people like you.
Yep.
So, Dr. Jacalyn, maybe you can tell everybody how they can learn more about this.
It's so easy. You go to abetteryou.tv and you sign up to book your session.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Welcome back. It's so nice to have everyone here. This is Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn, the variety show. And I am here with my co-host, Lori Mendelsohn, and our guest, Nancy. Nancy and Indy.
And Indy has something to say right now, right?
He's been chirping.
Oh.
Okay, he actually said hello a minute ago.
He did? Oh, let us know when he's talking. We'll be quiet. So I wanted to come back and talk a little bit about our intuition and how we use intuition or don't use our intuition in our everyday life, and maybe how it translates or correlates to Reiki.
I'm so glad that you mentioned that. I want to share a quote with you by Albert Einstein. The intuitive mind is a sacred gift, and the rational mind is a faithful servant. We have created a society that honors the servant and has forgotten the gift. And this has become so important in our lives, even more so with the COVID pandemic, which has got us all sort of closed in. But living with and utilizing our gut instinct, our natural feelings, and getting out of our head a little bit is becoming more common. People are tapping into their intuition. And how this relates to me when I'm doing remote Reiki sessions is that I have begun many years ago to receive messages and images from the animals, especially that I work with. And it's been so impactful to me that it's literally brought me to tears, not during this session, but after the session was over. And I realized how special the images were as after the client actually confirmed and validated what I got. So intuition is so very important today, more so than ever, that we listen to our gut, that we get our ego out of the way. And especially when offering Reiki, it's a non-judgment zone. You want to put all need to filter and define anything that is held in the ego, that is put aside during the Reiki session. And the practitioner is simply a conduit for the universal life force energy. And utilizing intuition is like a muscle that you use in the gym. So the more you use your intuition, the stronger it gets. And it really taps you in to things that are unseen in our world. I mean, I can tell you it's a fact. So it's quite remarkable and magical.
That was really powerful, especially the quote. Thank you for that. I'm wondering, because I know myself, I have not always followed my intuition. And it's not been until the last few years that I actually realized that I wasn't following my intuition. And so I made mistakes and made wrong choices. And now that I'm older, I'm trying to really listen to my intuition all the time. So would either of you like to comment about that?
Yeah, Nancy, please go ahead.
Intuition has just become the louder voice for me. It's about what you pay attention to, right? And we all get those feelings of intuition when we walk into a room full of people. Those of us who are perhaps sensitive or more clairvoyant or clairsentient and kind of tuned into our feelings, your radar, your invisible radar, your energy kind of goes out into that room. Those of us who are more in our heads we kind of get ourselves stuck in a place where things are so defined and things are so difficult to expand out of, right? It makes it tight. It makes it compress. It compresses your energy. So it keeps the definition of who you are small, right? And now more than ever, we really want to expand our world. So if we open ourselves up to the vulnerability of allowing ourselves to feel more, and you can start this process within yourself. If you find yourself in your head a lot of the time, the easiest way to start this process is by taking 3 slow, deep breaths and centering yourself and grounding yourself. Pretend that you can see your feet going into Mother Earth and breathe slowly and deeply. You can do this anywhere at any time. And that will ground yourself and help get you out of your mind. You know, they say that breath is spirit. And as long as we are alive, we are breathing. It's up to us to use our breath to bring spirit into our body, to allow us to connect into the flow of energy, to allow us to live life more fully, more freely, in a more expansive and loving way. And there's never been a more important time in this world than right now to start doing that. And by tapping into that kind of energy, what begins to happen is that your other senses begin to expand and grow, which brings in more intuition and an ethereal understanding that is rather inexplicable. sometimes. So that's how I feel about intuition.
It's wonderful. Look, Lori, do you want to add something?
This is one of those moments. What do you say after that? Other than epic. Okay, Nancy, that was so beautiful.
Thank you.
What I find especially about what you just said, Nancy, is right now in the world that we live in the United States that we are living in, we need that energy more and more and more versus the hatred that we are all experiencing. And if we could all stop, take the breath, ground ourselves, imagine peace, imagine love, imagine coming from a heart space versus a place of hatred, what a beautiful world it would be. We could heal each other. In terms of intuition, well, it's a live show, so it's going. Sorry about that.
Okay. I was gonna add something in terms of hatred. Like even on this show, the show before this, we streamed to 6 different platforms. So one platform, I'm not going to mention which one. I'm finding that people who put comments, the comments are always either pornographic or they're filled with hate. And I think it's interesting that people would actually take the time to put a comment with something negative. And it just shows that they themselves are filled with just negative energy and then trying to push it out on other people.
That's right. That's right. It's a sad state right now, but let's get back to intuition and
yes, happiness.
So one of the easiest things to do to begin to expand in this way is to incorporate meditation into your life. And everybody has this very incorrect vision of what meditation looks like. We are all human beings, and we all have monkey mind. And I mean, unless you are a guru who's been doing this for 150 years, you have a monkey mind. And I've seen so many people let that stop them from learning to meditate and from getting into the routine of meditating. You can meditate for 5 minutes. You can meditate for 3 minutes. I meditate every day for 20 minutes, at least once, sometimes twice, if my day has gotten my energy a little upset and in upheaval and it's hard to go to sleep. So meditating is all about being in a comfortable position, closing your eyes, centering yourself, using the visualization as I described earlier of grounding yourself into Mother Earth, breathing deeply, at least 2 or 3 good, slow, deep breaths, and then just focusing on your breathing. I meditate often with using guided meditations by one of my teachers, David G. And he uses mantras. So these are Sanskrit words that allow me to stay more focused during my meditation so I don't always fall asleep, although sometimes I do fall asleep. And by the way, that's not a bad thing. That's fine. It's okay. It's achieving the same state that is the end result of a wonderful Reiki session, where you are allowing your body to go into that relaxed state of natural bliss and peace and serenity, which then allows your body to begin to repair itself, to dissolve negativity, to dissolve energy blockages, and to bring in good, positive flow. So everything gets loosened up. And as things begin to loosen up, things begin to expand. So you want to be sure that you're focusing on good feeling things, things that are wholesome, things that are, innocent, things that are pure, things that are of the divine, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you. During the pandemic, I got my meditation certification from the Path in New York. Yay, Dina Kaplan. and it has helped me so much because you have to go back to the breathing. And as soon as like, quite honestly, every time I'm filming, I'm very nervous because I have all these things to do, and I'm like, just breathe in and out through your nose, breathe in and out. So thank you for sharing that. Is meditation something that you offer with your Reiki sessions?
I actually, in order to prepare for my Reiki sessions, do my own meditation prior to the Reiki sessions. It's certainly something that I can utilize and assist clients if I'm working with people to get into a meditative state. In fact, if I'm offering remotely, I would ask my clients to be preferably relaxed and laying down or just in a nice, comfortable seated position to receive the Reiki. But yes, I can definitely offer people steps and techniques to use to get into a meditative state.
I think it's interesting when people have not meditated, everyone has an idea of what meditation is, to your point, and then they start to meditate and they realize how monkey mind they are and how uptight they are, how stiff, and how every parts of your body just like, and then they start breathing into them and it's like, oh my goodness, and it's a whole new world. So if you don't practice meditation, we suggest that you do, and you reach out to Nancy for meditation and Reiki. I have a question about what an actual session is like. So for people out there who are listening or watching, they hire you, what can they expect?
So what they can expect is that first we will talk. We can talk by phone, or we can talk through email, or through Zoom, or whatever means. But I'd like to talk with them and just kind of get an idea of what their needs are, whether it's for them or for their pets. And they don't have to go into any detail if they don't want to. But when I'm working with pets in particular, well, pets and people, I will say, I like to work with a photograph since we're doing this remotely now. And in preparation for these sessions, what we'll do is we'll schedule the sessions, and I'll let the clients know what time I'm going to start the sessions. I ask them to give me a 2-hour window to start. And then as soon as I finish, it's typically a 30-minute session, but we can be flexible with those times. As soon as I finish those sessions, I email the clients with all the information of what time I started, what time I finished, how I felt the energy was flowing. If I had any visions or information that I received during the session, then I send those out. And again, this is very important. I set my ego aside so that my mind is not defining anything that I get or that I see. And prior to a Reiki session, I will cleanse my space and cleanse myself using Palo Santo or sage or incense. I'll do my own meditation. I'll do a prayer. And I will call in the archangels and other ascended masters to be present, asking them to be here now to assist us and support us in this process, so that I know that we are divinely connected, even though we're not together in the same room. And then I'll begin the session, and again, I work with a photograph. So sometimes I literally work with the computer screen, the photograph on the screen, but I also have a little stuffed animal that I use, and I'll lay the stuffed animal on my desk, and I will use crystals sometimes. I also use a product made by a company called Arasoma. They make something called quintessences. You can look them up online. It's Aurasoma, Arasoma. And I have a few of those, and those bring in the essences of some of the ascended masters, such as Jesus Christ, Saint Germain, Lord Cthulhu, and many, many more. And then I will use crystals on the different chakras on my surrogate for the client, the stuffed animal, and proceed to move my hands across the areas in the body, usually starting with the head and the feet, and then working over the different areas. So that's how the session goes.
Thank you for sharing that. I love the time and effort that you put in before the session to cleanse yourself, also get yourself mentally focused, so you're not just had this session or dealing with that. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, she's not bringing in the old energy from the last, and she's completely clearing out the space. That's wonderful that you do that, Nancy.
Well, and it's not about bringing in my energy, because I am the conduit only. I'm the channel. The Reiki energy doesn't come from me, it comes through me.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't hire me out to do Reiki sessions. So this is something that, many people, if they are of this mind, and I feel that I'm here on this planet to help others, to support others, to live a better life, and to help with their healing and that sort of thing. I've always felt that way.
Hello.
See, I have a question for you, because when my dog Little Bit, I would bring her over, but she's too far away. When Little Bit swallowed a bottle of vitamin D3 and was in the emergency room, a friend of mine who is a shaman and also a Reiki master and a healer was working on her. And what he needed was the exact coordinates of where she was. He wanted to know the address of the facility where she was, so he could really dial in to that spot. Do you also work that way? Do you also work that way, that you need to know where the animal is, or do you work a different way?
Well, I work with a photograph, and I don't have to know exactly where they are. Working, and I usually ask for 2 or 3 photographs, frankly, just because I seem to then naturally get inclined to work with one picture or another, or one picture more than another, and the same with people. So no, you don't have to have latitude and longitude to zone in. It's energy, it's intention. That's the most important thing: energy and intention. That's how I utilize it. And I think that's a common practice among most Reiki practitioners if they're doing this work remotely.
Mm-hmm. Dr. Jacalyn, Nancy also, when I posted a picture when I was in a relationship with someone, Nancy reached out to me and she told me all about this man. And she was spot on. It was really a gift. So thank you, Nancy. So not only, does she do Reiki, but she also felt very strong presence from spirit to tell me about this person.
It's something that, I guess there's those of us that are a little different than other people.
Yes.
It can be a curse or a blessing, actually, to be that sensitive. And I've always been that way. As a child, I was super sensitive. I've had to learn how to protect myself a little bit more and grow through that sensitivity, not get rid of it. Because I still have to, I feel like it's important to be vulnerable, to still be sensitive, even in this world as crazy as it gets. But I have, I'm sure there's many people like myself who draw upon those inner feelings. And again, it's about exercising that muscle of intuition, and that muscle of being connected to the divine, to God, to the spirit, whatever you want to call it, and being centered and grounded, and asking for help, asking for support. This is very important, to ask for help from the angels, or from the archangels, or from your spirit guides. We're not alone. We're never alone here. But we feel like sometimes it's so important to be tough, to get through hard times. We forget to ask for help, and spirit is always there. Our guides are always there. The archangels are always there, but you must ask them for help. So I think that's important to keep in mind.
My screen froze for a minute there, so I apologize.
I didn't want to talk over you. I thought that you were going to say something. I think
my screen has been frozen for like the last 3 minutes. It keeps turning off and turning back on again. So I think this might be a great time to close out this show. And I think we've had so much fun, especially with Zinc and with Indy and Nancy. You're just a beautiful soul, amazing energy. I love your glow and your aura, and I thank you for.
You're frozen again. So Nancy, I'll thank you for being on the show and sharing all of your beautiful gifts with
Nancy,
us.
anything that you'd like to say to our audience before we close out?
I would just love to hear from people or about their pets or about themselves. I am more than happy to help with remote Reiki sessions to help people get through these hard times. And you can find me on Facebook at Reiki for Pets International. Or my website is reikiforpetsinternational.com. Here to help. Really, please call.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, Dr. Jacalyn. There you are. Now you're moving. Now we can hear you.
I love that look I had on my face. It's like, oh my gosh. Anyway, well, thank you again for being here. And I hope you have a lovely weekend. I'm afraid to continue on any longer because it keeps getting frozen. So have a great weekend.
The archangels are telling us it's time to go.
Bye.
Yes. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting. I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, I mean, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.